Today, scientists, nutritionists, doctors, healers, lay people are promoting through books, infomercials, the lecture circuit, the indispensable value of vitamins, essential fatty acids, enzymes. The list goes on. And, you know, they promote these things as if they're a silver bullet. They're going to solve all your health problems, your aging problems, and your weight issue problems. And one thing I want to note is, too, that many, most of these people that are promoting these products have strong economic ties to the product itself. So, are supplements necessary? There's a short answer and there's a long answer. The short answer is supplements are not needed. You do not need supplements. If you have a solid foundation of health, you are thriving, you very rarely get sick, you have plenty of energy, and you just feel like smiling. Okay? If you have that, you have real health. And if you're on a vegan diet of fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and avocados for your fats, you have all the nutrients that you need in those foods. So the short answer is no, you do not need supplements if you're eating that type of diet with a wide variety of fruits and vegetables. And you've got the nuts and the seeds and the avocados. And the long answer is, am I against all supplements? And the answer is no, I am not. Because sometimes supplements are needed to help a person get to that stage where they have that solid foundation, where they really feel good, they feel healthy. Once you have that, you don't need them. But when you're transitioning, and some people transition when they're in their 20s or 30s, and some people, like me, transitioned when he was 58 years old. So I had a lifetime of eating the wrong foods. So have I used supplements? Yes, I have. I've used herbal supplements and I've used B12. The herbal supplements I've used to help me with just detoxing to a deeper degree. You've really got to go deep. You have to dive deep into the detox if you want to solve issues that have been laying dormant for decades. So, yeah, I'm not against it. And even B12, I have supplemented with that. But a healthy person, a person that isn't, has that solid foundation, even as a vegan, does not need B12 supplementation. There's something that's very interesting that you need to know is that even meat eaters, people that eat meat, have B12 deficiency. And vegans get it also. But the reason they get it is not because, there's plenty of B12 in meat, and there's plenty of B12 in fruits and vegetables. With fruits and vegetables, there's B12 in the fruit and vegetable, and it's also on the skin and in the stem of the fruit, like stone fruits, peaches, pears, or what other ones? Plums. It's in the stem. There's bacteria, because that's what B12 is. It's a good bacteria that we need. And so what happens is people tend to sanitize their fruits and vegetables so much that they wash away the B12. So that's one reason. But the biggest reason why people get B12 deficiency is because they are not absorbing it or producing enough. Because B12 is produced in the intestines, in the mucosa of human beings. We produce our own. However, if we are on a high-fat diet, if you're on a high-fat diet, you're inhibiting the production and the absorption of B12. I'm going to refer to one of the books that has helped me tremendously. There's so many health doctors, what should I call them? Doctors that, in my opinion, are real doctors, okay? I mean, the guys in the emergency rooms of hospitals, those are real doctors. And I've got to hand it to those guys, because dealing with what they deal with, the accidents and people really mangled up, they deserve, a lot of credit for what they do. However, I'm not into prescribing, the doctors that are prescribing drugs. I don't think it helps anyone. It just makes a person more dependent, and they're not taking control of their own health. So I like doctors, personally, the ones that teach us, and that's what a doctor should be, a teacher, someone who says, hey, this is what you need to do if you want to prevent disease. And if you have a disease, here is what you need to do to reverse that disease without drugs, without radiation, chemotherapy, surgeries. Without that, your body can do it if you give it a chance and eat what I call, well, I didn't coin this term, but what I basically follow are the laws of natural hygiene. If we keep the internal body clean, we're going to be much healthier people. There's no doubt about it. But anyway, there's been a lot of doctors that I really have enjoyed reading their works and how they help people without drugs, without radiation, chemo, without surgeries. Guys like Jethro Kloss, great doctor. Who else was there? Bernard Jensen. If you find any of their books out there, buy them. Who else? Robert Morse, great doctor. Who else is out there that Norman Walker. So remember those four. And the fifth one, Doug Graham, a great doctor. And his book really taught me so much, and especially about this B12 issue. And, he brought out in the book that, meat eaters, they get B12 deficiency just like vegans. But here's what it says in his book, 80-10-10. It's a great book. In both of these cases, B12 deficiency is usually only a problem if you lack a chemical called the intrinsic factor, which causes people to be unable to absorb B12. How does this occur? It seems that intrinsic factor production is reduced as dietary fat increases. So you see, fat can bring about the overconsumption. You know, in moderation, they're okay. But overconsumption brings a lot of problems. This is by far the most common cause of B12 deficiency. Doctors can easily test whether a person has a normal ability to absorb B12. For those who do not, no amount of the vitamin in the diet will help. Thus, all of us, vegetarians, vegans, and meat eaters alike, are at risk of B12 deficiency. And what is it that brings that risk way up? A high-fat diet. Okay, it increases this risk substantially for two reasons. Number one, the colonies of B12 producing bacteria in our intestines utilize carbohydrates for fuel. As the amount of fat in our diet goes up, the amount of carbohydrate goes down, thus reducing the quantity of fuel available to the microbe. B12 is that microbe. It needs fuel, and its carbohydrates is what it wants. Less fuel results in a smaller colony and an overall decrease in B12 production. Second, the B12 uptake sites in our intestines become clogged when there is excess fat in the diet, further reducing B12 absorption. When reduced B12 production is coupled with impaired absorption, the likelihood of B12 deficiency becomes predictable. So there you have it. And I respect Doug Graham and all those other doctors that I mentioned because they've done their homework. They've done the research for us. And all you have to do is try it because results speak for themselves. So remember that, you know, stay on a low-fat diet because you're going to get that absorption. You're going to be producing the B12 and absorbing it. So, as I mentioned, I have taken B12 in the past because, remember, I came from a super high-fat diet. And even at 72 now, and I started at 58, I know that my body is still in detox mode, okay? I still haven't gone really deep and cleaned deeply inside. So I'm still working on that. But it's amazing, this machine that we have, the human body. It never ceases to amaze me. And I'm very thankful to God. And I want to take care of my body. And everybody should try and do the same because it's a wonderful gift. So please, give this video a like, a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. Any questions or comments below, I'll do my best. And like I said, there's been a lot of comments lately. I'm trying to keep up, but it's difficult sometimes. Fruit up. I'm going to be doing that pretty soon. It's almost lunchtime. My favorite meal. Take care.